Hello and welcome to SAP on Microsoft Azure. My name is Holger Bruchelt, and in this video series we want to take a look behind the scenes of the Extending SAP Solutions Using Microsoft Power Platform webinar. This is chapter 1, and we want to take a look at how to get started, how to set up the environment so you can actually do and recreate all the demos that were also shown in the webinar. So the webinar, and I've pasted here the link again, so you can register even after webinar and retrieve the content. In the webinar, we talked about how to connect using the Microsoft Power Platform to your SAP system and work with the data from SAP directly from there. Now, if you are familiar with the Power Platform, you know that there are different options how you can actually connect from Power Platform to your SAP system. There's the SAP GUI RPA, the Power Automate desktop functionalities that allows me to simulate even clicks on the SAP GUI to really have a very high level interaction with the SAP system. So if you have an SAP GUI, if you have some transactions that are very complicated, maybe you have an SAP system that does not expose any APIs, then the way via the Power Automate desktop is definitely one option to connect to your SAP system. Another way is the SAP ERP connector that allows you to connect via an on-premise data gateway to your SAP system using BAPIs and RFCs. What we mainly focused on in the webinar is actually a custom connector that allows me to connect via OData services to the SAP system. That's also the connection that we will only focus on in this video series, where we connect to an OData service that is exposed either directly from the SAP system or via the SAP Cloud Platform or the Business Technology Platform, and then can be consumed via the Power Platform. So in the following videos, we'll go through all the 4 demo scenarios that were shown in the webinar. So we'll start by creating a very simple Power Apps. Then we'll use Power Automate to show an automation process, how basically an invoice could be processed. Obviously, in our case, since we do not have access to a full-blown SAP system, we will not process an invoice, but we'll process a PDF document. Nevertheless, we'll extract some relevant data, and then we'll update product informations in the SAP system. Then we'll switch over to Power Virtual Agents and create a chatbot that allows you to directly interact from within Teams with your SAP system. And finally, we'll put a lot of things together. We'll create another Power Apps, but this time we will not only connect to an SAP system, but we'll connect to SharePoint, we'll connect to some cognitive services, we will create a Q&A bot and embed all of this in the Power App. So with this, let's take a look and get started by setting up all the required components from an SAP system, from Office 365, and obviously also from the Power Platform. Okay, so in order to recreate or build the very same demos that we also showed during the webinar, the first thing that we obviously need is an SAP system that we can connect to. So one thing that you could do is there's something called the SAP Cloud Appliance Library, cal.sap.com, which actually provides you with a few clicks a full SAP system, and you can also really try this for free. So there are these trial environments available, and you can definitely do this to have a full-blown SAP system and then really experience the benefits of an S/4HANA 2020 fully activated with all the functionalities and features there. There's even some getting started content there. So this is definitely something that you can get started to use and connect your Power Apps against. What is actually even better and even simpler for our specific scenario is the so-called SAP Gateway Demo System. So here, SAP has done a beautiful job in providing a public SAP system that exposes OData services. Actually, it's even much more, and it's fairly easy to sign up. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to have a user on SAP.com, or you need to have an SAP user. So typically this is an S user if you are a customer or if you're a partner, or this is a P user if you're an individual developer. In order to get this P user, we'll just fill out this information here, email address, phone number and stuff like that. Click on submit. You'll get an email where you need to approve and confirm your email address and stuff like that, but then you're good to go. With this P user then, you can head over here again to this tutorial. So SAP has lots of fantastic tutorials here on how to work with the SAP platform. And one of the tutorials is this, how to create an account on the SAP Gateway demo system. So the easiest thing here is if you just click on the Gateway registration system, and then you need to sign on with your P user or S user or whatever. Once you have done this, then, well, you just click through the whole approval process, you confirm the terms and conditions and everything, and then you're good to go, and you can actually call the so-called SAP GUI just to make sure that everything is working. So here I'm logged in with my specific P user, and yeah, everything's working fine. Now, this SAP GUI is beautiful in running in a browser, but actually what we will focus on is the Fiori user interface. So if I connect here, so I'm connecting to the very same system here, this SAP developer system, and now there's a so-called Fiori Launchpad, which allows me to take a more beautiful look at the SAP system, so to say. So for example, there's a list of products that are available in the SAP system, and I can get these products here in this beautiful SAP Fiori screen. Now, what's even more interesting here is that this SAP Fiori is HTML JavaScript, but it uses OData to connect to the underlying SAP system. So in our case, the underlying SAP Developer Center system. So what we will later on work on is, for example, this GW sample service, which is an OData service and which returns here all the different collections. So for example, there's this product set collection that we also saw in this Fiori user interface, where, for example, you then see here a product like there's this notebook and something like that. So with this, you should have access to your to an SAP system, and again, this is a beautiful way how to get started. Obviously, if you want to go a little more into detail and want to do modifications and stuff like that, then I can highly recommend to also log on to the Cloud Appliance Library. Same things here. You can use your S user, your P user, and then you can create your very own SAP system, for example, deployed obviously on Microsoft Azure as well, and run this SAP system there. So the next thing, now that we have an SAP system, is to take a look at the Microsoft side. And I can only highly recommend to join this Microsoft 365 developer program. With this developer program, you get a free renewable 19-day Microsoft 365 E5 developer subscription, which means you get access to Office, so to Outlook, Excel, PowerPoint, and so on. But what is also nice is you get these sample data packs, and they can also be very interesting, because here you get for these 20 users or something like that that you have as test user, you get them with content. So for example, if later on we use the Microsoft Graph to query the inbox, or to look at content in Teams or something like that, this content is already there. So it's a beautiful way on how to get started and create some demo content. So again, just subscribe here. That's actually the same user that I will use, or one of the users of this developer program is the user that I will use throughout the next videos to really create the content. So now we have the SAP system, we have Microsoft 365, and the last thing that we need is the Power Platform. So if you go to powerapps.microsoft.com, then there's this possibility to start free. So basically, I think I have already logged on, but yeah, actually here you enter your email address of the user that you're going to use. In my case, it's this user here. So let's take this one and register. I think I am already registered, so that's perfectly fine. But typically you would go through this registration process and then you're good to go. Then you are authenticated and can use Power Apps. So with this, we have everything in place to get started. So we have an SAP system that we can connect to. We have Office that we can use, for example, for the Teams integration later on. And now we also have Power Apps to actually create our Power Apps. I hope now you have really created all that is necessary to get started. So I hope you have subscribed to the Microsoft 365 developer program. You have registered for Power Apps or the Power Platform so that you can create your very first Power Apps. And you have created an account with the SAP Gateway demo system so we can have a connectivity to the OData services and then create the services from there.